Hello to today's episode of the Untold, the show where we have amazing people and we discuss all about their journeys. I'm your host, Abdullah Hindiani. I'm joined by my colleague,
Lujayna Al-Athari. And today we have a very special guest, Ms. Hussa Alhassawi, who is a transformational life coach, which I think is a really interesting specialty to have.
It is, yeah, and I think, from going to her socials, she's all about helping people improve themselves, which is, I think it's a very courageous, career path to take, where you have a great knowledge and you're influencing people to the betterment of their life.
And something I'm curious to talk to her about is the power of the subconscious mind and how it affects our daily lives,
Right.
which is something she talks about a lot. And I'm curious to see what she has to say about the matter.
I am curious as well, and for that, we are going to go on a very quick break and we'll come right back after it with her. And we are back on The Untold. Thank you for joining us, but most importantly, thank you, Hussa Alhassawi, for being our guest on The Untold.
Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. And you're a transformational life coach, is that correct?
Yes.
Could you explain more what that means exactly?
A life coach is someone who can guide you through your mental state during the period or the journey that you're going through while wanting to achieve the things you want to achieve. So a lot of the time when we have goals, we think of what we're doing and we forget about what we're thinking. Now, what I focus most on is not just what you're thinking, but what you're subconsciously thinking. So subconscious thoughts are the thoughts that you're not even aware of. We take your actions, we take what's happening in your life, and then we assess it and then see what are the subconscious thoughts that are running in your mind. And that way, when we fix them, everything else comes easier.
Yeah. And it's strange how many of our day-to-day life decisions are influenced by our subconscious mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because I was watching, I think it was a documentary or something produced by the BBC. And then the person who was conducting the documentary was a mentalist or something of that sort. And they were doing these experiments where they were having, signs and signals, whatever, for the test subjects.
Mm-hmm.
So they encountered them on their day-to-day life. And at the end of the experiment, they had the subjects choose numbers, choose, words, or pick, dates and everything. And the amount of correct answers they got, I'm talking about the physicians themselves, the mentalists, he got most of their answers correct. And then he was just talking about, implementing ideas and how the subconscious mind works.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think that's really fascinating. And I think a lot of people aren't aware, like you said, of how much the subconscious affects our everyday lives.
Yes.
Yeah, let's just talk about your beginnings. Like, how did you first get into this? Because this is I would say it's a very unique kind of field. So how did you get drawn into all of this?
Actually, it's from my life. I tried so many things. I tried doing so many things, and I excel in almost all of them.
Mashallah.
But for some reason, I stop.
Oh,
So I stopped doing it. And then I have those huge dreams and those huge ideas. And it seems like they're so huge and I'm not getting to them, but I want to get to them. And this feeling is so strong and it's so big. So when I noticed how I start so many things and I excel at those things, but then I stop, I realized there must be something happening because I cannot explain it. It's not what I'm doing. It's not to the goal, because I'm achieving it. But why am I stopping? I had no explanation for that. In the beginning, the initiator was my kids, because I thought I can't just keep on trying and failing, like their life, it's their life. So I want to make sure that it came out of control. So I wanted to make sure that I provide my kids with the best life possible because I want to achieve those materialistic goals. That I want to learn everything that's stopping me from achieving those materialistic goals. And this is where I started. It had to do with materialistic goals and my kids. So nothing to do with me.
oh.
And when I started, I did a course about mental blocks. So basically subconscious thoughts. And the lady in the course said, Actually, with all the respect, she's not the lady. She's my mentor. She's my coach. She's my coach. And I've trained with her and I've got my certification from her. Her name is Mary Morrissey. She said that she's going to mention 8 mental blocks and that we should tick which one we have. And these subconscious thoughts, she called them mental blocks because at the time we were beginners, you know, so we didn't even know what subconscious thoughts were. And she said, tick the mental block that has to do with you.
Yeah.
And I ticked all 8.
Oh.
Okay.
I had all 8 of them.
All 8 symptoms.
Yes. And I was like, oh, okay, no wonder. No wonder I stop at any form of success that I have. So this is how I started saying, okay, no, let's take a moment. It was also another maternal decision because I was thinking if I have those mental blocks, I'm going to pass them on to my kids. So I need to work on myself and fix myself. Again, another form of control. And then whatever happens, happens. So one thing led to another and realized it's my passion.
Honestly, that's amazing. And I love that you thought to focus on, you don't want to pass these on to your kids.
Yeah.
You want to make sure that you are your best self so that you can be your best self for them as
Absolutely.
well and be the right example.
Yeah.
That's something I think all parents should try to do.
I hope so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I really hope so. And it's hard. And I'm not saying that I'm doing it perfectly, but I'm definitely trying. I actually had a session the other day with a client and our kids are friends. So I was telling her, we were talking about like one of her beliefs and one of her thoughts, and we were like rewiring it. And I was drawing this chart for her about how this thought comes from this and this comes from this and how this wires to survival and la 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 la. And she was like, oh my God, this is not what I came for. I came from something much more shallow and, you know. And I told her, you know why I stopped raising my daughter? Because I have to raise myself first. I have to start. How can I raise my daughter if I myself am not?
You're still a student.
Still a student. I'm not eligible to raise her.
Yeah.
But what I've noticed, like I know it sounds harsh that I'm not raising my daughter, but it's actually just pure science, mirror neurons. If I raise myself, she's just going to reflect that.
Yeah.
So, and my son too. But I mostly talk about my daughter because she's older. But it's very simple to me. If I just put the effort on myself, they will just simply mirror it.
Yeah.
Instead of me teaching them and then seeing something else. So like if I teach them confidence, but I'm not confident, they will mirror the lack of confidence. They will mirror my actions and not my words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they say, your perception of the world is how the world perceives you.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
it's basically an equation of constant loop.
100%.
Yeah.
So when we're in that loop, the question is, what do I do? I'm in the loop. The only thing you have a hand over is your input in the loop, not what's coming back.
Yeah.
It's what are you inputting in the loop. So it's your perception.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And speaking of your role, you know, as being a student, but now you're also, as been highlighted, you're a coach, you're also a mentor. So how did that transition come along? Like, how did you, what was the key moment where you're like, okay, I have a lot of knowledge. This knowledge benefited me. So now it's time to, tell others about it.
It was when I noticed, as I mentioned in the beginning, it was purely materialistic. So by materialistic, I mean money.
Yeah.
I wanted to be successful in my business and I wanted to make money.
Yeah.
It was simply that. But when I started working from the mental blocks and changing them, money aside, I noticed what happened in my marriage. And I noticed the difference that happened in my marriage. And I noticed the bond that's different in my marriage. And I noticed the calmness that was in my house.
Yeah.
And the happiness that was in my house. And the lack of problems. And like how everything settled. And this was the decision, the moment I decided that I want to be a coach. Because in that moment, I realized that, for lack of other words, I saved my marriage. It was going somewhere, and now it's going somewhere else. So in that moment when I realized, I said, okay, I'm pretty sure there are 100 women out there going through the exact same thing. And I mean, I wasn't a bad wife. I was very, like, I was a hardworking wife. I studied a lot. I tried to apply a lot. We went to therapy. We did all of everything under the umbrella. But it was when I applied those teachings is when I saw the difference in my marriage and how we shifted gears.
Yeah.
So it was, again, family oriented. I mean, how many women are trying so hard to live a healthy relationship and a healthy marriage, and in the end, it's just their subconscious beliefs.
Right.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense, especially I think in the way the world works. A lot of people think they have to burn themselves out to achieve their best selves, whereas it's the complete opposite. Like you mentioned that you felt like, oh, I'm not raising my daughter, but you are because you're trying.
Yeah.
And they always say you have to pour from your own cup first. Even on airplanes, if it's going to crash, you have to put the oxygen on yourself first before someone else. Because if you don't take care of yourself, you cannot take care of anybody around you
100%.
or anyone in your life. So I actually think it's really amazing that you're doing that.
Thank you.
And the fact that you want to share that knowledge with people is also really good, because I think a lot of people can benefit from it.
Thank you so much.
So going into that, how do you help people achieve their dreams or overcome their obstacles?
I hold my company, Hussa Life Consultancy. I hold, number one, I have one-on-one sessions. I have programs. So I have beginner and advanced programs. And I also have the lab, my lab. My lab is an 8-hour extensive workshop. So we meet at 10 a.m. and we end like around 6 or 7.
Oh, so very intense.
Very intense. And we work on theory and application. So theory is why we're doing what we're doing, and then application is how we're doing it. So these are the 3 main areas. We have one-on-one, and then we have programs, and then we have the lab. I also hold, I have a retreat coming up in January. We're going to Oman. That's exciting. So all of these things, and also my Instagram account, I have a book club. I like to give the information because I always believe there is more information. So women are welcome to DM me. I coach women only, with all the respect to men.
That's what you understand.
That's what I understand, yes. I try to be, I think it's my, what we call analytical mind. Because I feel like if I coach women, I have more effect on them. And then, just like my story, she will affect her husband and she will affect her kids. And then like the butterfly effect will happen.
Yeah. And then from working with so many women, what would you say is the biggest, change they made to improve their lives, right? If it comes to mentality or goal chasing, like what did they actively change to the betterment of themselves?
I think the one thing that I see most recurring with women is allowing themselves to put the mask on first.
Oh.
So I think this is the hardest, not the hardest, it's the most common obstacle I've seen in women. We have been trained. I mean, it's just like a misconception. It's okay. It's no one's blame.
It's global, actually.
It's just, yeah. We've been trained to, like, we have to give your kids, give your husband, give. And it's that it also touches on the maternal instinct. And so, like, it feeds on each other. So actually just pausing that loop and then saying, okay, I have to give myself. And then you understand what you want to give yourself. And then you try giving yourself some things, and then you realize, oh, no, I don't want those things. I want something else. So just giving ourselves, women, grace. Giving ourselves grace to make mistakes and to experiment and to feed ourselves first. And then be okay with, like, things are going to be handled. It's fine.
Yeah, like you said, giving yourself grace and kind of trusting the process.
Yes.
Things will work out.
Yeah.
Even if, like, the world will not fall apart if you don't do something in this exact moment, in this exact way.
Yes.
I have some control issues myself, so I understand.
Absolutely. I have actually a very fun story also about women and marriage and how it affects men. I had a client, she did with me the 3-month program. So it's the extensive weekly meeting program. And she came in with the problem of, I want to get a divorce.
Okay.
She's like, it's final. I'm done. I am asking for a divorce. I told her, okay, you can ask for a divorce after 3 months. Okay?
See what happens.
Let's see what happens in those 3 months. After 3 months, go for it. Yani, I'm not gonna tell you to stay in whatever situation you're in. She said, okay. So her problem was there was no communication whatsoever with her husband. She says he comes into the house and he just walks into the room. No talking, nothing. Oh. No date nights, nothing. There are no problems. They're not fighting, but there's nothing. And she said one thing that really hurt her feelings was when she asked him, let's go out on a date. Let's do something. And he told her, I'm suffocating. Oh. I feel suffocated. And she's like, I don't even talk to him. We don't talk. What are you suffocated from? You know, so they're not fighting. They're not even talking.
Yeah.
So when we did the program, it's a 3-month program, and it takes you through 4 phases. So within the 4 phases, she started putting the oxygen mask on herself first. She changed nothing in her marriage in terms of she didn't start talking to him. She didn't do a plastic surgery. Nothing changed. But suddenly he started calling her and telling her, let's go out on dates. What are you doing? Oh. No. And it was like 2/3 through the program when I told her, why aren't you bringing up your husband? Like, why aren't we talking about him anymore? And she said, oh, we're fine. I said, what? What happened? And she said, I don't know. I'm going to ask him. So she went and she asked him. She told him, what happened? Why do you want to go out suddenly on dates? And they want to drink tea. He wants to drink tea with her, like tea and biscuits, she says. And then he told her, I don't know. I feel like I can breathe around you.
Oh, mashallah.
And when we talked about it, it was because she can breathe. She was suffocating. Oh. She was suffocating with all the pressure that she put on herself, and he sensed it.
So subconsciously that made her better, and therefore he felt less suffocated.
Yes.
That's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we have to go on a short break right now, but I hope we can talk more about this afterwards. Stay tuned. We're going on a short break. And we're back from that break. Hussa, you were just telling us a really amazing story about how just because your client focused on herself, that helped save her marriage. Does that help explain how the subconscious truly affects our actions?
Absolutely. So what happens is in our mind, we have neurons, and these neurons are wired together. When those neurons wire together, they create an idea. And those ideas are the subconscious thoughts that we have. Those thoughts is what our mind labels as safety. So if we have a thought of, I must make everyone happy so that I can be safe. It's a thought. Now, the brain doesn't categorize it as good or bad. Yeah. Logical, not logical. Oh, you can't make everyone happy. No, it's a thought. It's a rule. So let's change the word thought to rule. We have rules in our mind, and we have to follow those rules, no matter what those rules are. So what we did with the client, we changed the rules. The rule was, I must make everyone happy. Everyone has to be comfortable. No one has to feel pressured around me. Those were her rules. So we changed them into, these are the things that I love doing. I love doing the things that I love doing. I feel safe around my husband. I have time to take care of myself. So we changed them, and then suddenly she feels safe around her husband, because the first rule was she doesn't feel safe around her husband. Yeah. The first rule was, the subconscious first rule was, everyone has to be comfortable around me. We changed it into, I love feeling comfortable. So we rewired her subconscious beliefs. So she started feeling comfortable. She was no longer tense, watching like a hawk if everyone is comfortable. Yeah. You know? So these subconscious beliefs that are in our thoughts, they trigger They are our thoughts. They trigger our feelings, and our feelings trigger our actions. And no matter how much we try to change the action, for example, let's say she decides one day, no one has to feel comfortable around me. I want to feel comfortable, but she didn't change the initial subconscious thought. She will remain in the same loop.
Yeah.
So her actions in the end, even if consciously she's decided differently, she will act according to the subconscious thoughts. Because the subconscious thoughts run 95% of our thinking.
Much?
Yeah.
Wow.
And what happens is, in coaching, I teach my clients to notice the subconscious thoughts. And what's amazing is when you notice them, it's like you've known them. You've known that this is how you think, but you haven't realized it.
Yeah.
So these are subconscious thoughts. You say things like, oh my God, I knew it. Like, I knew this is how I was thinking, but you're not conscious about it.
Yeah.
Because they're always in the back end. Just like us here in the studio, there's someone in the back end running the show. Without them running the show, we won't be able to do anything. So it's like saying, okay, let us do an interview and sit here and open the mics, but no one is running the show in the back end. Nothing
not
is
possible.
Yeah,
nothing.
makes sense.
So this is exactly what's happening with our subconscious thoughts.
And so I'm glad you brought those terms, right? The conscious and the subconscious, because I don't believe we dove into them a little bit. So for the audience, and if you could make them into, simple, descriptions and simple terms.
Yeah.
What is the subconscious? What is the conscious mind? And how do they differ or even, mix and match?
Okay. It's like a boat.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you're the captain on the boat. Okay. And then you have the wheels, right? I don't have boat lingo. So I'm just making things up. Okay.
It's cool. None of us do.
They have tires as well.
I guess, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
But let's say like the machine of the boat,
Just say the machine.
the machine of the boat, is, right? You can go for, or like a car. We all know car lingo.
Yes.
Okay. So we have the wheels and then we have the gear, but we have to put drive to go forward and then rear to go backward. And then we have to steer it, right? When we're driving the car, I'm driving the car. So I can say I want to go forward. But if my car, for some reason, is messed up, and when I put drive, it does reverse.
Oh.
That's bad.
I'm gonna reverse, no matter what I do.
True.
Even if I'm in the car and I'm saying, no, I want to go forward.
It's going to go backward.
It's going to go backward.
Yeah.
This is what happens with our subconscious thoughts. You're the one in charge, true. You're the one driving, true. But what's the mechanism of the car? Is it well maintained? Do you take it to service? Does it have gas? All of those things are within your subconscious mind.
Yeah.
So you want to learn how to dive into your subconscious mind, and this is what I teach. Dive into the subconscious mind, open up the thing of the car, and fix the machine of the car, so that when you want to drive forward, it drives forward. And then when you want to reverse, it reverses. This is a good metaphor of what the subconscious mind is. But the subconscious mind also is created from the age 0 to 7.
Oh.
So this is an important piece of information. Remember when we said the rules in the subconscious mind is what decides what safety is to you?
Yeah.
So from ages 0 to 7, our subconscious mind is absolutely open, and we are just observing the world to learn how to survive.
Yeah, we're like sponges at that age.
Absolutely.
So how do you help people overcome these kind of issues, especially if they're rooted in childhood? Because you mentioned before that you hold workshops and there's theory and application. I feel like theory is a lot easier than application. So how do you do it?
Theory is not easier than I think both of them pour onto each other, because we cannot do the application without understanding the theory. I get very scientific in the theory because the application is very like not general. It's because you're going into your subconscious mind and you're finding your subconscious beliefs there, because there's only so much that I can do. I can only guide you there, and you're the one who has to decide if you want to change them or not. So theory, we use science. I use mostly science-based information so that people understand neurons, understand synaptic connection, understand what it means for neurons to die, understand what it means if they're hardwired, understand what neuroplasticity is, neurorigidity is, and all of those terms and all of those theories, so that when they go into the application, when they find resistance, they don't say, oh, I'm bored. No, they say, okay, these are my neurons.
Yeah, I got to deal with it.
I got to deal with it. These are my neurons. They don't want to die. So I'm just going to wait for them to die. You know, it gets easier when we understand the theory before doing the application.
Yeah. And you mentioned how, the fundamentals of our, subconscious mind, is developed from the ages of 0 to 7. So, and then you also mentioned something about treating people and helping them by reprogramming them. So, is our, fundamental understanding, or is our subconscious in a treatable kind of phase, or is it, the kid I was born with somehow grew into this adult and I have to be with it for the rest of my life? If that makes sense.
I think both exist at the same time. I think, in my opinion, the brain is, not in my opinion, the brain is phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the brain is is God's greatest creations. And us saying that this is who I am and I'm never going to change is also saying God has created something that's malfunctional. Yeah.
True.
So there's something called the freedom of will, which cannot be explained scientifically. We all have the freedom of will, and we practice it even when we think we're not practicing it. So when we say this is who I am and I'm never going to change, you're practicing your freedom of choice and freedom of will to not change. So you're choosing not to change.
Yeah.
So we can also practice our freedom of will and choose to change. I have a client who's 73 years old. She just started changing.
Bless her.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's happening. It happened. Doesn't mean it was super duper easy, but it definitely meant that she realized that she has the ability and that she can change. The child that we grew up as, who made those rules, was learning to survive. Now we are an adult. We can choose to say, this child can run my life, or we can say, it's just a bunch of neurons and I can change them because I have the freedom of will.
Honestly, that's really amazing. And for instance, I spoke to someone once at uni because I was struggling with anxiety and some issues. And I would say stuff like, I have to do this, I have to do this. And she said, do you notice the language when you talk about yourself? Mm-hmm. Why is it have to? Why are you so hard on yourself? And that really transformed the way that I dealt with my everyday life.
Yes.
And I feel like what you're doing now is also helping people in so many different ways.
Thank you.
So I'd really like to thank you for coming to the show and for, the work that you do, because it really does help people.
Thank you so much. I try my best.
Yeah, thank you again for joining us and enlightening us. I think for a topic that, it's not being discussed that much, changing your mentality to fix your life. It's such a great topic. So I do want to thank you again and again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. And thank you for your lovely questions. It was an enjoyment having this talk.
It really was. I feel like we all learned a lot, and I hope you guys learned a lot too. And see you after the break.
Well, that was the end of today's episode of The Untold. Honestly, amazing episode. The amount of knowledge Hussa had was beyond anything I expected.
Same, because she came at it from a very scientific standpoint as well, which I thought was really interesting. I had no idea about how the neurons are part of the subconscious and that it makes 95% of our thoughts. That was something I had no idea.
Yeah, honestly, like a lot of the things she talked about, it was so fascinating to see the science behind it, right? To know that your everyday, decision and thought process has a mechanic behind it. That was really, thought-provoking.
I agree. And I love what you had to say about how you have to focus and care for yourself first, and how you feel will affect everyone around you. And I think more people should strive to do that.
Yeah. And with that, that's the end message we are going to conclude the Untold on, is that, your reflection of your personality is your reflection on the world. With that in mind, that's it from us on the Untold. But until the next one, goodbye for now.
Goodbye.